We're doing how to secure your coop. 40 different ways to secure your coop. And I'm standing. Oh yeah, let me start over. 40 different ways to secure your coop. This is an ebook that I wrote in accompaniment with my business, Secure Coop, and free ebook. I'm going to put the link on the forum, on the on the Facebook group, and you can download it. You can have it. So. Okay, so you love your birds, but they need constant protection from, foxes, snakes, birds, dogs. Our family has lost chickens to dogs, snakes, and hawks, and it's always a tragedy, and we don't want to lose any more. So I don't want you to lose any at all. So I've written this book filled with proven ways to have more secure coop. So if you've had an attack, if you've just had an attack, first question to ask, are you sure you had an attack? Because if eggs are missing, know that sometimes hens do stop laying due to stress or feed changes. But it might be that she's gone broody and she's escaped to go hatch a flock. So even so, this is a good opportunity to check out your defenses. Are there weak points to shore up now? Dive into the on defense chapter to take a look. If you are certain that you have been attacked, there's a guide here, and I'm sorry this is a really tiny font, but I'm kind of reading the high points here. There's a guide here that you can click, and it will help you understand the kind of predator that might be to blame. So one of the greatest ways you can be on the defense is with some battery power cameras. It doesn't have to be battery power. I personally prefer wired cameras, but if you can't run wired, that's a decent one right there. According to a vote of more than 1,000 chicken keepers, the raccoon is the worst predator, followed by dogs, hawks, foxes, and weasels. So you want to understand their patterns, and you want to understand how they think and how they work, and face up against that. You do want to know the laws. You might get in trouble by either killing or surprise not killing certain predators, depending on your local laws. Once your research is complete, find out what you are permitted to do and to not do. You want to be vigilant. You might build a chicken Fort Knox, but predators are numerous and relentless. They have all night to find cracks in your armor. So keeping constant watch through the window, camera, motion sensor, or a neighbor is required. But know that missing eggs and chickens are not necessarily the result of predation. It might be that your girls are taking a break. It might be one of them has gone broody. Don't assume that your own dog or cat will leave your birds alone. Owners, cats, and dogs have been known to kill for food for fun and for food, and this behavior can spontaneously arise. Train your flock to come in at night. So it is natural behavior for poultry to seek a roost at sunset. So work with this natural tendency to invite them into the safety of your coop. And no surprise, use an automatic coop door opener because you're going to be able to close the door after they come in at night, open it in the morning, and it keeps predators out in the hours in which they're most active. And then you also want to try to ensure that the pop hole, the door, self-locks after you're closing, because raccoons can pry up a door. And then there's, I put a link here to a YouTube with a really unique design where it has like a self-locking door that you could make out of if you wanted to. I'm going to use a sort of similar design when I go to finally build my secure coop product, but it's just got these two levers here that when you pull up, it opens the door, but when you let go, these two levers lock into place. It's pretty clever. Okay, so do not rely on chicken wire as your primary defense. It's got the word chicken in it, but that's to keep the chickens in, not to keep predators out. It is just very flimsy and wide enough for rats and snakes, and it's been known to be a compromise point for sure. So when possible, don't rely on it as your only primary defense. The better option, 1/2 inch 19 gauge galvanized hardware cloth over every opening. It's more expensive, but it definitely works. They've tested rats to, like mice can get into like slightly larger than a half an inch. If they can get their face through it, they can get their whole body through it. It's crazy. So also, quarter inch, if possible, in places. So why use both? Because a thinner gauge, the quarter inch uses a thinner gauge wire and can be more easily broken by large predators. So if you layer it, you can layer them together for a winning combo. You want to build strong roofs, floors, and walls, because a coop is only as good as its weakest link. You want to protect your windows. Two-legged predators might try to break the glass windows, so hardware cloth can be secured to either the inside or the outside of the windows. You want to test your doors and give them a good kick, and give them a try. Really try them, because predators definitely will. You want to put a roof over your run. So if you have your run where they come out in the day, put a roof over it, and that can be just a net. But the idea is that we've lost birds to hawks, and they come around and.
No, owls will do it too.
Owls will do it too. So, rodents and snakes can and do come from above. So if possible, use small mesh up top. I know it starts to get expensive when you do that. Okay, so furring strips to attach hardware cloth to the frame. And when they, hold on a minute. I forget why I said that. Screws and staples become weak points. And sandwich them with the cloth to the frame using 1/2 inch. Oh, okay, so that's because screws and staples start to become, over time, they start to rust in there. Yeah. So the furring cloth is more stable way to connect it. If you can, you want to bury the cloth on the walls, the hardware cloth. You want to bury it down 2 feet, or flare it out 2 feet. So you come out and you pour gravel and or sand on top of it to bury it slightly. And the idea is that if you have a burrowing creature, they're gonna have a hard time getting past a 2 foot underneath it. So, if you're flaring outward, don't use paving slabs, because these can defeat the purpose. Animals might dig under the edge of the paving slab and go right under. And you want to keep an eye on holes. You just want to regularly inspect for any new holes. You want to raise your coop at least 1 foot off the ground. That's because snakes, rats, skunks, if it's too easy for them to reach, they just give them more that they can get with. In your run, if possible, use electric netting. Electric netting is this kind of fence that is electrified. It's like an electric fence, but it's just the whole net isn't electrified. And another possibility is just, electric fence, electric wire. That's great for if you have bears, which we have around here. We do have bears. I put some recommendations in the ebook on how and what to run the electric fence, but you don't need a very large energizer, because you just go on a small, little area. So you just don't. It's pretty cheap. Like that one's like $30 or so. And you want to trim your vegetation around your electric wire and fence, because vegetation will ground it out and make it ineffective. And you want to test it. There is a simple and reliable tester. I am also going to be working on an electric fence monitor. So I have a way to, from your phone, and see, the electric fence is having problems. That's a future. So there's that tester. Another great thing you can do is motion activated lights. Because predators prefer darkness, you can get some cheap solar motion lights, and that can help. It's not foolproof, but everything is defense in layers. You want to put away the feed, and you want to clean up at night, because feed invites rodents, and so we want to keep it clean. There is a treadle feeder right here. This actually, the chicken steps on that, it opens up, and they can eat. And you walk away, it closes, keeps out the mice. It's a little expensive, but it's well regarded. People love it. Now, if you can, you want to collect your eggs every day. And that means because uncollected eggs is going to tempt snakes and rodents, so keep them collected. One really good thing you can do is in your coop run, where the chickens, go out in the day, put bushes inside, because they will feel like they have a place to run in safety if a hawk comes around. So. Mint repels rodents, so you can put mint around the edges, and of course mint loves to grow, and it's easy to grow, and so that's a good one to run around the outside of the coop. If you want to do that, you want to plant some regularly chopped down pieces for visibility and lay the pieces on the floor of the coop. It helps, it keeps out rodents. You want to remove bushes and trees outside the run, which prevent visibility, so that you can always keep an eye on things. Then you want to provide cover inside the run. They don't, chickens don't like being exposed out in the open. So if they have any kind of bush, I mentioned that earlier, but any kind of cover, boxes or branches or whatever, that gives them more security, and it makes them feel more comfortable. So this guy had made a hawk teepee. They just run into it. So there's this thing called a hen saver apron, and optionally they have these predator eyes. They protect the hens back when mating. Some of them have that problem, but it also has those predator eyes, and when a predator flies over, they see these weird eyes. So a great way to protect your coop is to bring in a male bird, a rooster. He will sacrifice his life to protect the coop, and as a bonus, you get another generation of birds. So, kind of a win-win. We don't have this problem way out here in the country, but I wrote this for everybody, and some people, you can get a collar that isn't that cute. You get a collar that restricts their, doesn't prevent them from breathing, but like prevents them from deeply crowing, and it's been found to be harmless. And they got the little bow tie you can put on. All right, so if you want to, for your door, the best solution for the door, because raccoons are extremely intelligent, put on a two-step lock. And that would be something like a carabiner, which raccoons have defeated a carabiner, but a carabiner with a locking twist. So like that, you can see this carabiner right here has a little thing. You turn it and then you open it, and the raccoon just can't get that. Alternatively, just a lock, because that is good for two-legged predators. Two-legged predators with an A-buses has an excellent reputation. They've got a very good lock. It's relatively inexpensive. Of course, with locks, it's always a trade-off of quality versus cost. But A-bus is pretty darn good for most two-legged predators. And it is whatever lock you use, it's important to be able to open it from the inside if you get stuck inside. Wayne has been locked inside of his coop before, so you have to be able to open it from the inside some way, somehow. So if you have something that self-latches, it's got to have like a...
How do you get out?
Yeah, so I think he just called his wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Good he didn't have to call
Can I make a comment on locks?
Hmm?
Can I make a comment on locks?
Yeah.
It is an excellent investment if you buy multi-locks with all the same key, number one. And number two, you can get blank locks, generally in either the Schlage style or the Dexter style, that you can get them keyed to your house key, so that you don't have to be funneling for keys. And but you can buy maybe even 10 small padlocks with all the same key for maybe a few dollars more than just buying them singly.
Something about being locked inside. The caveat to that is that it can't be reachable from the outside, because then the raccoon will figure it out, and they can just, raccoon's very smart. And then you want to place the latch as high as you can, so that it's comfortable, so that you don't give short critters an opportunity to reach it like a raccoon. But if it must be placed low, ensure it is a solid kind of lock. Okay, the nesting boxes, they have make sure they have. If they have outside hatches, use strong locks on them as well, and test the doors for strength. Put a link there to a resource you can for testing your door. Now, there are some great predator deterrents. That nothing is foolproof, but everything increases your odds and your edge. There's a stuff called irritate, scare eye, and it's eyeballs. I'm working on something like that too. It's like that random eyes that blink. I'm gonna have those repellent discs, strobe lights. I might do that too. A night guard, which is again, that's the same kind of eye thing. Owl, some dummy owls, some scarecrows. Snake scarecrows made from old garden hoses. So you can get an old garden hose and you can turn it into a snake scarecrow. It's got a link there to how to do that. Old CDs on a string. And they hate, Hawks in particular hate Nickelback and Justin Bieber, so I would get one. That's a joke, son. And talk radio on a portable radio. And make sure to ask your chickens their political preference before you turn on the radio.
Well, if you're gonna have strobe lights, you might as well put a disco ball in there.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so you want to vary your predator deterrence because the predators could get accustomed to things. So you want to move both their locations and their types. So if you have several kinds, bring in an owl or put out the CDs, and by the way, the CDs like dangle on a string. So that kind of thing. So a timer on the radio so it's not always playing, things like that. You want to vary it. Now there's some great livestock guardian dogs, Greater Pyrenees, such as this one, have actually been bred to watch flock and will defend their life to protect your chicken. There's some other Pyrenean Mastiff, Commandor, Kangal, Tabatian Mastiff. So there, I put a link there to the 10 best guard dogs for livestock. And all right, so these also can make unusual but helpful protection animals, which are donkeys, llamas, guinea hens, geese, and ostrich. If you want to do an ostrich, that'd be fun. And emus. Okay, so you want to give your livestock guardians room to patrol. So whatever animal you choose, give them access to the outside of the run at all times, and lock up the coop at night to prevent them from chasing the girls all night long. And traps and poisons. First, you gotta know the law. You might end up in a human-sized trap, such as a jail. But some predators, it's some places illegal to kill them, and some predators, it's legal to trap them, but not relocate them. It's kind of weird. I don't make the rules. So poisons for rodents should be protected for children and pets, and for live traps, have a heart, or well regarded. But also, since I'm writing this, I found out that Harbor Freight sells an animal trap. So they have some animal traps you can use. And then there's a link to a chicken keeper forum where you can ask all kinds of other questions. So that is the nuts and the bolts about protecting a coop. Is there any questions about that?
Do you have any quail?
Do I have any what?
Quail?
Quail? No, I will. I'd like to one day. Yeah, definitely. That's on the goal, but not the moment. No, since we lost our last round of chickens, we're done for the time. But it's
you lost them to a predator?
Yeah, dogs. So one reason I wanted to learn more about protecting a coop, but it'll be a little bit before we try again.
Unfortunately, our neighbors kept wolf dogs, like legitimate wolf dogs, and their teeth are stronger than like regular dogs. And so the lady just didn't keep a very good pen, and they got out and
They chewed out and chewed into yours and ate your chicken.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just our chickens. I mean, it's gross sounding, but once they got a taste for it, they just went after everybody's, and it wasn't just us losing chickens left and right, it was everybody else.
How about you? You got quail?
Mm-mm.
I've
thought about it.
I hear they're easy.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
Ones I was talking about the guineas, that's what I was thinking about. Getting a yard full of guineas.
Yeah.
The guineas.
The only problem is their dogs and cats will probably try to catch them.
Yeah. Well, when you have guineas, it's not just you that has guineas. The entire neighborhood gets guineas when you get them because they go wandering.
We actually have some guineas in our neighborhood, and I don't even know how they ended up there. Somebody probably tossed them out. But they literally migrate through the yards, and nobody owns them. They just, everybody owns them.
Everybody owns
There's some
guinea.
feral chickens out on, what's that road coming in to the States? Feral, no. I can't, begins with Fowler. You go down there on the right-hand side as you're coming in, there's almost always 8 to 10 chickens in the ditch out there, digging around, scratching
Pretty
around.
neat.
Yeah.
If you can catch them,
Yeah.
if you can get them.
Did you hear the Ronald Reagan joke about the chicken? Hopefully I'm going to tell it right because I'm always bad at telling jokes. But so this businessman was going out to visit a farmer, and as he's driving up his driveway at 45 miles, because it's a long driveway, it's 45 miles an hour. There is, he sees in his rearview mirror, he sees a chicken coming up fast behind him. Passes him 45 mile an hour. And the guy's, wow. He says, he pulls up to the farmhouse. Hey, did you know there's a chicken around here that can run faster than 45 mile an hour? I said, oh yeah, I bred that chicken. Really? I said, yeah, I like the drumstick of the chicken, and my wife likes the drumstick, and my son likes the drumstick. So I said, you know what? I'm going to breed a chicken with 3 legs. He said, really? He said, yeah. I said, how do they taste? I said, I don't know. I never caught one yet.
You want to go ahead and finish up your?
Yeah, I got 15 minutes left because I do have to log into work pretty soon. But anybody
Okay.
have other questions?
Well, the thing you gotta be careful of is, you mentioned a couple of times with the different rules for different areas, and I think it's still illegal to have roosters in any residential zoned area.
Still.
And
it's in
city
Jacksonville.
of Interlochen, they're banned, and I can understand why, because I can't stand them. So I'm glad, I was wondering if you cut their vocal cords or what, but if they have some kind of a collar,
You have a collar.
because that's, they don't crow at dusk and dawn, they crow 24/7.
Yeah, they do. They don't.
And they just knock me out of bed, so.
When I first moved out to the estates, they had one kind of behind us. And for a long time, I'd hear it at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Then I stopped hearing it, and now I hear another one that's off a little bit further off though.
I think it just people, there's like a nostalgia with the sound to an extent, but when you have to live in the community and you have to listen, because they don't just crow once or twice, it's through the whole. We had one that crowed all day long, and it just gets on your nerves after a while. So it kind of I understand why the city's trying to put that limitation in. I think it's in Jacksonville, it's something like you can have 6 to 8 female chickens, but no roosters at all.
That's definitely Jacksonville.
And that's
I know
kind
Lincoln too.
Well,
how
that's
they are.
the town here, the first thing when I first came in here,
Yeah.
they had a whole laundry list of things you couldn't do on your land, and one of them was no
Was
roosters.
that in the city or in the county?
In the city,
In the city.
Yeah.
yeah, but the county's more lenient, but
Yeah.
thankfully, because you have to be conscientious of your neighbors. So I have a neighbor that's diagonally, a few hundred feet off from me, and I hear and see the chickens, and I say, okay. Then I hear a rooster, I say, okay. And then all of a sudden, there's not a peep. And whether they have a shed in the back or whatever kind of coop, or maybe they're even letting them into the back family room of their house, I don't know.
Yeah.
But boy, at 5 o'clock, they're in and quiet.
In the morning?
And
5 in the evening?
5 in the evening.
Yeah, they're putting them in the roost.
And they don't put them out till like 9 in the morning. So between 9 and 5, you got noise. Who cares? They're far enough away from me that the rooster doesn't even bother me. But the idea that, and then one day, and I got to give him kudos because I just can't do it. Well, my acre's not fenced yet, but this friendly little piglet shows up. Now he has to be a mini pig, but he's only this big, and friendly, come up to you and everything. But nobody could find out who owned him, if anybody. And it's totally friendly and domesticated. And so one day I saw him in their yard. I said, well, great, they took him in and take care of him. And now we're talking about a 75-foot lot. Not talking like they have land or anything. So you can work with people and do it right.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with chickens is you'll make sure you have enough room for each one.
Yeah.
And now you'll find instructions saying, well, you can get like a dog houses, plastic dog houses, and one per chicken. But when you start cramming them together, it starts looking like those CAFOs. They start
Yeah.
getting sicker and all that kind of stuff. So you want to have enough room for them to run around.
Well, my neighbor just built this elaborate thing, big house, big fenced area, and I think he lets them out into his yard during the day, so he may lose one or two, but it's wooded, so, but he's done a good job. Another thing I would mention too is the kind of wire. You should mention welded wire, because if you get
like field fence.
well, the half inch or even the quarter inch, generally when you go to the store, you're only gonna get welded wire. It's galvanized and each joint is welded, but every now and then you'll see they just weave the wire, lattice work. And so any animal can squish a whole bunch of wires
Yeah.
together and they'll
Yeah.
slide down. So it has to be the welded style.
Most of your hardware cloth, I think, is welded, is galvanized and welded.
Most of it is.
And
At least around here,
field
but up
fences,
north you get the woven.
field fence, they take them, when they make it, it's welded, but it's not welded with electrodes, it's welded with plates. You got a positive plate, a negative plate, and then the fence, when it comes down, it hits, and it sends that voltage through it, and it's like a spot weld.
Yeah.
Like you see, sometimes you see people that do batteries, and they spot weld the tabs, the copper tabs on. That's basically what it is, spot welds it. So I don't know if those are better than actually welded or not.
I will say that despite the fact that it's got chicken wire, it definitely is.
Yeah, those are pretty
It is
flimsy.
really,
Not
chicken wire is some of the
keeping
crappiest
chickens
stuff
in.
I've ever seen, because you can just pull and push. And
Yeah,
if
freaking
I-
chickens in.
We
if
would,
a human can do that, what the heck is a raccoon or a dog or something like that gonna do?
yeah. We used the hardware cloth for our rabbits. We wouldn't even use the chicken wire for them because they could tear through it.
Yeah, hardware cloth is, they recommend, I think it's either 1/8 or 1/4.
Well, I would recommend 1/4
1/4.
because
Quarter inch.
yeah, but the 1/4 is flimsier, so if you can combine it in certain areas where there's higher
Yeah.
pressure.
But it's crazy expensive. So if you go and get chickens, like you
Yeah,
make
it's an
sure
investment.
You want to invest the money into it.
There's ways to do free range that are not where you don't lose them, but that requires a lot of mastery that
Yeah.
I don't have.
Chris and I have looked into it. There's a guy, and I'd actually recommend anybody interested in chickens go look at it. His name is it's not Bullfrog. I'm close. Sorry.
Yeah, Florida bullfrog
Florida Bullfrog.
on YouTube.
And it's funny because there used to be a species of chicken that you could buy, because I remember it in Jacksonville when I was a kid, and you didn't have to coop them up except during wintertime. And so you could buy the chickens and let them free range.
Talking about the jungle fowl?
Yeah. But they were like a hybrid jungle fowl. And so I think it was like Rhode Island Red. You have to mix I think it's Rhode Island Red and jungle fowl together, and it creates a bird that's capable of doing some serious damage to predators. And that's really why people started doing chicken coops, is because we've got eagles and hawks and all that kind of stuff. And so unfortunately, you have to baby your chickens. Well, if you're babying your chickens, that's a problem.
You have to be.
Well, a possum will come in for eggs too,
Yeah,
and they're pretty good, almost like a raccoon when it comes to getting into
that's true.
stuff.
They're pretty clever.
Yeah, and
But I don't know that they would actually try to kill a chicken. They may. I don't know.
I wouldn't put it past
But I know that
Maybe,
they
especially a chick. Baby
snakes
chick.
and stuff like that. They love the eggs.
yeah. My mom came in her chicken coop multiple times and found snakes actually wrapped up around the egg clutch, just sitting there like, these are mine now. You can have them. And so also I was gonna say with roosters, there is actually a rooster sanctuary. That you can take your roosters to, because otherwise, I don't know if who knows what about the industry, they actually kill the males, like they'll just drown them as they're coming off the line if they don't have actual people that want them, because they're not valuable to the industry. Real quick before you head out, I wanted to let you guys know they're shutting the library down. Like, period. Nobody can come in after a certain period. That is gonna happen February the 17th, and they are not opening back up until March 17th, but that is their guesstimation. Because it's a government work, it's looking like it's gonna maybe extend to 2 months, but they're saying, 1 month.
Remodeling?
You don't have to record, Chris, it's alright.
Oh, it's not minutes?
And
These are not minutes for people who didn't attend? Okay.
yeah, I'll put it on the thing.